Hi there, students. I'm XS. That's little x, little s, which stands for extra sweet, because that's what I am. I'm a Puppy-sensei, and I make Japanese content to help you level up your Japanese language skills. Have you been studying your Japanese recently? You need to study. Wait, who am I to tell you what you need to do? Wait again. No, telling you what you need to do is the content of this lesson, so it is my place to tell you what you need to do, isn't it? Today, I'm going to teach you a grammar pattern with the verb auxiliary beki. Sometimes you might also see this written or hear this spoken as beshi. But honestly, beshi is very old-fashioned and out of date, so you really don't hear it too much these days. Anyway, when we form phrases using beki, we're basically saying that no other option exists but to do some certain thing. Let me give you an example sentence and I'll explain exactly what I mean. 毎日漢字を勉強するべきだ. This sentence means you need to study kanji every day. But the implication that we get from the use of beki here is that if you don't study kanji every day, you're living your life all wrong and you are, as the kids say, a failure. For that reason, beki is a pretty strong command, even though technically it's not a command at all. It's almost like a forceful judgment. If you're not doing the thing that I tell you to do, that's not good and you should be ashamed of yourself. And that's why we're going to see beki used with da, as in the sentence above. Because there's really no need to be redundant by using the more polite des with beki, since you're already presuming a close enough relationship that you feel comfortable making judgmental assertions about what someone else should be doing with their time or their energy. No need to make this a polite sentence. You're telling someone what to do. It's not going to be polite anyway. So, how do we actually go about using the auxiliary beki? There are 5 basic ways that we might use this grammar point. I'm going to provide you with an example sentence for each one of these uses. First, 一緒に公園へ行くべきだ. This is base verb plus beki, and basically that just means you need to do that verb. You can basically put any verb in that spot and you're getting a statement that means you need to do this verb. Keep this in mind though. There's a really big difference between 一緒に公園へ行くべきだ and 一緒に公園へ行きましょう. These two sentences might look very similar in English. So one is we should go to the park together and the other is let's go to the park together. That seems very, very similar, but in Japanese the nuance is incredibly different. The sentence using beki means if we don't go to the park, there's going to be hell to pay. That would be wrong and bad, and you should feel bad for not taking me to the park. But the sentence with ikimashou is just a sentence in which I'm being very enthusiastic about getting to go to the park, and if you have to tell me no, then, well, I'll just have to get over it. Do you see the difference? Beki is a very strong, this needs to happen, while something like ikimashou is just sort of, yeah, let's do it, that'll be fun. We can also use this verbal form to talk about things that we should not do, just like in these two cases. These two examples are basically interchangeable. 超辛いラーメンを作らないべきだ and 超辛いラーメンを作るべきではない. They both mean the same thing. You should not make super spicy ramen, right? And that's okay. It's all right that those are the same kind of sentence exactly, right? One of them is just converting the verb into a negative, and the other one is just converting the copula into a negative. And it's okay either way you do that. However, there's an important thing that you cannot do with beki when it's being used with verbs, and that's to conjugate it into the past tense. No, actually. Actually, it's not because of kanji for once. Beki doesn't conjugate into the past tense because the past tense is going to come later in the sentence. So if you wanted to say something like, you should have bought a squirrel, then the sentence that you want to make is like this. リスを買うべきだった. Basically, it's the same format as above, but instead of ending your sentence with da, you're ending your sentence with datta, which indicates the past. The point that I'm trying to make is that you won't conjugate Beki for tense, you'll instead conjugate the copula that follows Beki. Anyway, moving on. 雨月物語は読むべき本だ. We can construct these Beki sentences in a way with the verb immediately following some noun plus Beki, and in doing so, we're identifying a particular noun for which something needs to be done. So a 読むべき本 is a book you need to read. A 飲むべき薬 is a medicine that you need to take. And 一緒に歩くべき犬 is a dog that you need to take for a walk. By the way, if you're wondering, Ugetsu Monogatari is a collection of cool short horror stories from the late Edo period. It's good. You should read it. But not like to the level of, if you don't read it, you're living your life wrong or anything. So, no, actually not a Yomubeki Hon. Never mind. It's a cool book. You get it. Okay. Next, we're going to work with nouns in a different way. So this sentence is ラーメンは食べやすいものであるべきだ. So basically, we can reverse what we did before with nouns to create statements about the way something is supposed to be, as in this sentence. The format that we're following here is noun, topic marker wa, description of how the thing should be or what kind of thing it should be, plus de aru beki da. We're basically making a judgment call in which we make the claim that the noun marked by wa is something that should be a specific way. Maybe that's difficult to understand, so I'll give you another example. Puppy-sensei wa itsumo yasashii yatsu de aru beki da ne. Puppy-sensei is supposed to be a guy that's always really nice, right? That's the meaning of that sentence. I mean, yeah, I would think so. Just look how cute he is. He's just a little guy. But anyway, the point is that you can see the same format, right? It's noun, wa, description, de aru beki da. It's something that should be like this or something that should be in this way. So next we're going to look at the way that we use Beki with E adjectives. In this case, our example sentence is この壁は赤くあるべきだ. Basically, we're taking any E adjective and we're putting it in front of the ku form so that it can take the verb aru. In a way then, what we're actually doing here is we're converting the adjective into a verb before making the claim that that's the way it needs to be. I guess with that in mind, you could also translate this sentence as, this wall needs to have red. But this is the basic way that we're going to go about using Beki with E adjectives. And lastly, we have the use of Beki with na adjectives. Unfortunately, I've run out of time, so we won't be able to cover na adjectives today. No, I'm just kidding. So actually, na adjectives aren't that dissimilar to nouns in some respect. And so what we see here is that we're actually using the na adjective without the na and adding de aru beki, just like we did previously with noun de aru beki da. So it's really the same situation. It's just whatever it is that you're talking about, the adjective that you want, de aru beki da. Right? It's not too difficult. I hope you found this grammar drop helpful. I should go decide what I'm going to stream next week. I'll see you all next week. Mata raishu!